Well, what is important right now is to talk about this new normal. And it's not the new normal after COVID, because the normal after COVID-19 is supposed to be our old normal, or the normal. But right now we're experiencing a new normal under a COVID-19 environment. This is a global pandemic. It's a problem that all countries are experiencing, including ours. And primarily, we're trying to address this because this is an enemy or a problem which we cannot see. And as of today, for everybody's information, it's a problem that has no solution yet. The only solution for COVID-19 is really to discover the drug that can abrogate the sickness amongst us. As of today, as of yesterday, there are around 8,212 was confirmed COVID-19 afflicted, and close to 558 deaths. I think we are on the verge of flattening, the so-called flattening the curve, primarily because the growth of our infections has grown down in terms of ratio. I think prior to the lockdown, the ratio of infection for every one person infected, there are at least 3 to 4 which is also infected by this person. Right now, we're now down to one infection who infects at least 2 more Filipinos. So we're trying to keep the curve flattened, and if we're going to be successful, then we might be going out of this so-called enhanced community quarantine, or in a more acceptable term, which is a lockdown. Then the new normal is actually something that we do while we are still under a COVID environment. For instance, this forum that we're doing is actually a new normal. We don't usually do a forum through live streaming, a webinar. We shake hands using our hands, but right now the new normal is shaking our hands by tapping our feet or our shoes, or tapping our elbows. In the beginning, it was quite funny, but right now it's just really normal. So no more laughter when we shake hands using our elbows. So this is the things that are happening right now. Again, it was mentioned a while ago that isolation may be a new normal right now. As of today, it's important for the public to know that there's an improvement of the crime situation in the whole country. The crime situation vis-a-vis the 8 focus crimes that we talk about, homicide, robbery, theft, is down 61%. And theft alone is down by 68%. So it's abnormal, but it's normal right now in this kind of an environment. However, on the discipline side, there seems to be a growing number of people not following the rules of the enhanced community quarantine. As of yesterday, we have our Philippine National Police has already accosted close to 150,000 people nationwide, violating the enhanced community quarantine. But again, more importantly, we should focus on what is happening or what will happen to our country given this environment. The impact is really both in the social side, the political side, and the economic side. On the social side, we all know that there's a problem right now because people do not have money to buy goods and services or something that they pay on a regular basis. I was mentioning prior to the lockdown that our government should focus its resources to ensure that people should be given money, especially those who will be losing their jobs and their earnings because they will have to stay at home. And government did do that more than what was expected. It was focusing only on Luzon, but the government even focused on giving financial assistance all over the country. 18 million families all over the country given assistance. And we're still having trouble right now because only close to 50% have been given that financial assistance, particularly or primarily because of problems with the structure. As mentioned a while ago, we've been talking to more than 1,700 local chief executives, and we're talking about 1,700 different kinds of thinking. And we really have to adjust to them. And to some extent, some who have not aligned to the policies of the national government have been given show cause orders, which I had to sign. Well, eventually they had to give way for us not to pursue a case against them in the office of the ombudsman or office of the president. So it's an issue right now of making sure that society is intact despite the fact that they have no earnings or they have no jobs. And up to as of last Tuesday, government has already spent, shelled out close to 350 billion in our funds, or that's close to 7 billion US dollars, primarily to address this COVID issue and to make sure that people will stay at home. The only way for people to stay at home is still to give them that money, and they have that money to be able to pay for their daily needs until the lifting of the enhanced community quarantine. By tomorrow, certain geographical areas or political units will now be lifted of their enhanced community quarantine and will be lightened to what we call the general community quarantine. And some areas will just have a normal community quarantine. But despite the fact that the lifting will be made starting tomorrow, there will still be areas, specifically in Region 3, Region 4A, the National Capital Region, and certain provinces such as Cebu, Iloilo, Pangasinan, Benguet, Davao del Norte, and Davao City, who will continue with their enhanced community quarantine because the number or the percentage of infection there is still doubling, practical doubling. So there's an extension of 15 days up to May 15. But despite the fact that there will be lightening up of the community quarantine in the other areas nationwide, again, the new normal will be there. Work will continue, but it will not be in full capacity. Of course, people, as mentioned already before, people whose age is between 0 to 20 will not be going out, not because they will get sick, but primarily because they're so strong and asymptomatic that they become carriers of this infection. For those who are 60 and above, you are still encouraged to stay at home, but for those who are still strong enough to work, you'll still be allowed to work. But more importantly, on the economic side, please expect that in the next few months, we'll see a recession. I think by the second or third quarter, NEDA, or the National Economic Development Authority, sees a recession of our country. And there will be a slowdown in a lot of economic activities. People will still stay at home. There will be less spending. Consumption is the major factor in the growth of our gross domestic product. We will not see any major spending or consumption from our consumers. It will only be government which will be doing a lot of spending. So our economy will now be carried by how our government will do its spending, and we'll have to do so to support our government. If there's anything that I've discovered in this pandemic, or what this problem that we're experiencing right now, a problem which has no solution, and we're only trying to contain the disease to spread amongst the people, is that government has been resilient. The focus has been there. And mind you, I sit in the interagency task force on the emerging infectious diseases. We meet 3 times a week, sometimes 4. And mind you, despite the senior ages of our cabinet secretaries, we meet at a minimum of 8 hours a day straight to a maximum of 11 hours. In fact, last night we finished at around 11 in the evening, to which we started at 10:30 in the morning. So that's close to 12 hours of meeting, discussing evolving policies that government has to impose. And anytime soon, we will be issuing a new omnibus guidelines for everybody to follow, private citizens and government agencies, including the private sector, so that, again, the ultimate objective is simply to contain a problem that has no solution yet. And we pray that anytime soon, in the next few months, or hopefully less than a year, a vaccine can be developed, and only a vaccine that can be developed and spread out all over the world, in our country as well, can only make this pandemic or this problem end. And we can go back to our old normal, as we say. So for everybody, my message is that continue to stay at home, continue to stay healthy, make yourself strong enough and disciplined enough not to go out, because at the end of the day, it's either you're a carrier of the disease, spreading it out, or you might be a victim of this disease. And I thank everybody, both in the private and the public sector, for being resilient in this crisis that we're experiencing right now.